Yeah,
All
that would be
right.
good. 'Cause I think I'm good.
Okay, now that we are recording, let's get the call started. Tonight, I have the pleasure of turning it over to the state of Michigan, and specifically Mr.
I just
John
didn't like
Bradley.
that.
Maybe John will use his hand to show us where in Michigan he is. John, take it away.
Southeastern Michigan. Good evening, everyone. It's my honor. I was asked by Danny to read the mission statement of Success Partners, one that we cling to and adhere to as best we can. And that is, I am part of a growing team of entrepreneurs with a shared mission to protect and empower 2 million new families and small businesses with Legal Shield's network of law firms and world-class identity theft services. What we do matters, and we're looking for help. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bradley. That was awesome. I appreciate it. I love having all the different voices of the team being able to read our signature message. It's so wonderful to include you guys. Welcome to our Success Partners Team Zoom 2.0. And today is our Saturday training. I am super excited. We have some good stuff in store for us. And I'm going to pass the Zoom on to our storyteller, Miss Annette Zobar. The call is yours. The Zoom is yours.
Thank you so much, Danny, and John as well, and Steve. You always start this off with in a great way. As Danny said, it's story time. And my name is Annette Zobar, Gulfport, Mississippi, background QuickBooks Consulting. So, if you're new to these calls or new to our team, you might be wondering, what's the deal with these stories? Why are they important? Well, stories are how we share the incredible impact Legal Shield has on the lives of both our members and our associates. They motivate us. They help us make connections with our prospect. And they're really important until you have stories of your own, because you know what? You can borrow these stories that you're about to hear. So when you listen to the stories, take notes about what the story's about, how they're telling it, their background, location, so you can borrow it or bring them in on a three-way call when it's appropriate to make a connection. So for our first story, we are going all the way to Halifax, Nova Scotia to hear from Bill Radford. Bill, you're on.
Hi, Bill Radford, Halifax, Nova Scotia. I am a Presbyterian minister, and my story is about my son, Joe, who lives in Nashville. He works for UPS, as does his roommate. They share an apartment together. And the landlord, the owner of the apartment, had sent them a notice saying that they had to leave by the end of July. My son didn't think that was right, so he's had Legal Shield for quite a while. He called Legal Shield. They asked him to send the lease to them, which he did. They looked it over and got back to him and said, not only don't you have to leave this month, you can stay an extra month if you want, and then the landlord has to offer you month to month from then on. So they're still in the apartment, and they've taken him up on that. They're looking for someplace else, but he's very satisfied with the service, as our family has been for the many years that we've all used it. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Bill. That is a great story. How many college students end up calling their attorney to get help with a lease? Thank you so much. That's a great story. Now we're going to head over to Michigan. And you know what? Last weekend we went to Michigan too. So Michigan is rocking these stories, just so the rest of you states know. We are heading over to Michigan to hear from Carol Escher. Carol, you're on.
Good evening, Carol Escher, Gregory, Michigan, real estate investor. I sold a house. The new people wanted the air conditioner set before spring, so it got set. And in the spring, they wanted it conditioned so that it would work. And my AC guy said, there's no power to it. And you're never going to get any air out of this thing until you get some electricity to it. And I'm going, oh dear. 5 different parties missed it, myself included. And they had a home inspection, the guy missed it. So I called Legal Shield because they wrote me a 2-page letter telling me they're gonna sue me because I didn't hook up the electric. And I called the attorney. He said, this house is in a LLC, which is a limited liability corporation. And you don't have to, you don't owe them a thing. They bought it as is. And I felt bad. I had planned to put the electricity to it and everybody overlooked it, including my electrician. And so I offered them about 2/3 of what they wanted, what they actually finally got it wired for. And they still wanted the difference. And I had lost my credibility with them. So I says, well, I'll call my attorney, have him write a letter on my behalf, and he will explain to you what the problem is and what I will do. The attorney did exactly that. Told them that it was an LLC, and it had been disbanded or eliminated because I didn't need it anymore, and that they couldn't sue me, they had to sue the LLC. And they had been sitting on my check for 3 weeks. By God, they cashed it and I haven't heard a thing from them since. So thank you, Legal Shield. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Carol. You know, I just sold a home as well, and in selling property, it always gets tricky, and it's really great when we have our law firm standing behind our backs. So thank you. Great stories tonight. You know what? Stories are important, everyone. So when you have one, whether it's an opportunity story or a membership story, it's really a great idea to share it with everyone. So get in touch with me and we'll get you in the lineup. So it's now time for What's My Line? And I have the honor of turning this Zoom over to my workout partner and someone who's become a great friend, Lee Perry, who will be interviewing an associate. So who's it going to be this week? Lee, you're on.
Guess who it is? She just retired recently. Yay, Linda Beck. We're going to have a nice little chat tonight. I'm going to go ahead and set my timer. I don't know that she's going to want to talk for 5 minutes, but I know that I can talk for 5 minutes. So, all right, timer is started, Linda. So, we all know that you retired recently. Congratulations again. I want to talk a little bit about working with Steve. So I know that you've been working remote for a while. How has being at home, both work and Legal Shield, shifted for you? What's changed?
Well, like you said, I've been working at home for quite some time. The difference between before I redirected my focus to now is that before I was on the clock at a different company. So when he came in, it was more of an annoyance, when he needed something during my time period at work, it was an annoyance, sort of. And now, we work together. We listen to each other about our business and what we're doing and our plans and our goals. And I ask him for his opinion on things, and sometimes he asks me the same.
So did you guys have a lot of conversation before you made that decision to shift your focus?
We had some conversation when I was making this decision, probably the middle of last year. We discussed why we could do it now, because he was turning 65 and I wouldn't need to cover him on insurance. We could go for a year plus until I turned 65 and paying my own insurance and, other financial things. So we had some discussion about that and how it would be less stressful for me to be able to not have my regular job anymore.
Well, you do sparkle now when you talk about what you're doing. We all love to see that. We love to see everybody
I enjoy
happy.
it much more.
Oh, good. Well, tell us a little bit, Linda, about what you were doing before and how it prepared you for your career in Legal Shield.
how it prepared me. Well, I had spent 35 years in mortgage banking, and basically I was a mortgage underwriter, very intense work for 8 hours plus a day. Many times it was 10 hours or 9 hours, something like that. But it was hard to do anything else but that. So I knew that when we got into Legal Shield, I didn't do it right away, but when I started showing up at things, I enjoyed it. I was looking forward to it. That was my why, to get out of corporate America and into Legal Shield. I had a short experience in multi-level marketing and as a tastefully simple person, but I didn't really understand it then. And as I got to know Legal Shield more, I understood what it was. Wished I had known more about it in younger years, but I didn't. So I was excited to be able to work at it full time.
That's fantastic. And I know that part of your why is pets. I know that you have a passion for pets. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, my why has refocused now also, because I don't have to do the corporate America thing anymore. Now I want to become successful so that I can really share my earnings and my income, what I make in residual income, in savings and all that, with the ability to give to animal shelters, to give to just other things that I want to be able, often I see people that need money, either rescues or church or other, and I want to be able to say, okay, I can give money to this if I feel like I want to, rather than say, I can't afford that right now, or I want to do it, but I can't. So yeah, that is a big thing. I do have 3 rescue animals. Frank is our dog, and he's right here with me, and 2 cats, Cleo and Bess. And when we get another animal, it'll be a rescue too.
Oh, I like that when. Okay. So what's your 30-second closing comment, Linda?
And I just found out that I was going to be doing this 45 minutes ago or an hour ago by now. And this part of the question, I knew that it was going to come in. What I think is, get to know the people that you work with on this team, on not your team only, but on Success Partners. Get to know them all and be able to pull from them. I've learned just in the last 6 months that the other people in this group are blessing to all of us. They're all mentors. They have something to share for each of us. And it doesn't need to be just about your business, but it can be about how to be a better person, or how to share your knowledge and other things with other people. And just get to know your family here.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much, Linda, for sharing that, because we are the Legal Shield family, Success Partners International family, and appreciate you being so willing to pinch hit. So, all right. And it is time now for celebrations and recognition with Matt Miller.
Let's go. Let's go. Thank you so much, Lee Perry. And thank you, Linda, for the great interview there. That was awesome. It's good to hear more about you and your story. So first of all, big thank you and shout out to all of our veterans and active duty military, as well as our first responders. I know this has been a weekend, to remember. And so thank you all. I'm sure we all remember exactly where we were that day of that event. And so thank you to all those people who have been a part of that day, and still with the last 20 years, everything that's going on before that. So thank you guys so much. I just needed to say that. But let's celebrate, right? This is recognition. So get those fingers ready. All right, let's make sure the chat works. Okay, guys. Right. So if you match streaked last month, type in the word mad, which means you either wrote one membership or brought on a new team member as a recruit, something like that. Let's go. Here we go. Oh, people are mad. Let's go. They are not messing around. Here we go. Sheila and Carlos Bird. There we go. Annette, Alan, John Bradley, Mr. Drennan himself, Danny and Tim, Lee Perry, Steve Beck, Timmer. Yep, expect that. There we go. Brenda Daniels. Who else is mad? Come on now. Right? Just one membership or one new team member. Brian Dell. Thank you, sir. Cool. Let's move on. The next step. If you Performance Club qualified for the last month, go ahead and just put in PC in the chat. PC. Here we go. 2 letters. There we go. The Godins, Bradley. I see a pattern here. There we go. Annette. Yeah. Lee. Let's go. Yeah. Who else? PC. I'm going to put in myself here. PC. Boom. There we go. All right. The Birds, PC. To make ED, you got a PC, right? I mean, let's go. Come on now. All right. Who else we got? PC. All right. Annette, thank you. Okay. All right. And if you PC Pro'd for last month, let's celebrate you. Type in Pro. There we go. Pro in the chat. Danny was ready. She had it already typed up. She was just ready to hit enter. No joke. She was ready to go. All right. There we go. Pro, Lee Perry, Timmer Halligan. Yes. Pro. Look at you guys getting some bonus money. The 7th day of the month is a good month for PC and PC Pro people. There's a little extra bonus money in your bank account. So thank you guys so much with that. Anybody else, PC or PC Pro or Mad Street, go ahead and type that in there. Okay. Let's go to anniversaries. Anybody who's had an anniversary with the company, within the last week or so, go ahead and just type in the year of the anniversary. 11 years. Wow. Talk about stick and stay and you'll get your pay, right? Here we go. Danny and Tim Godin, congratulations, guys. Super excited for you. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Danny and Tim Godin because they have a special rank advancement. Take it away, Danny.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, Tim and I actually at the end of August celebrated 11 years. So that was super exciting. I couldn't believe it myself. I'm like, am I even old enough to have been here 11 years? I don't know. Anyway, so in the last month, we have had some great growth, as a lot of you have heard from our stories. And we have a gentleman on our team who unfortunately was unable to attend this evening. He had to take care of some family issues. But he has not only hit senior associate in his first 20 days, but he hit manager in his first 20 days. He has been PC Pro 2 months in a row already because he was PC Pro last month and PC Pro this month within like 4 days of the month. He's rocking it out. And I know he's more than halfway to senior manager. So he will probably be hitting that any day now. So I'm really excited for him. Jawad Jallo, I hope you get to listen to this because we are super excited for you. We are celebrating you. The team is excited for you. So if y'all want to just like give him some thumbs up and waves, yay, because he will be listening to the recording later. So back to you, Matt.
Thank you so much, Danny. Congratulations to you and your team. You guys are building it the right way. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Lee Perry. But right before that, a special thank you to Lee Perry and Danny Godin for organizing this call every week. There's a lot of things that have to happen behind the scenes that none of us see. So thank you guys so much for coordinating it in a professional manner. Lee Perry, back to you.
Thank you so much, Matt Miller. And actually, it is Danny Godin's turn to introduce our team training with our Millionaire Club member, Danny Godin.
Oh, I missed that. Well, all right. So anyway, we get to do our training tonight instead of our Millionaire Club behind the scenes tidbit. And so I have the honor and privilege, I guess, because I didn't know I was, to introduce one of my favorite speakers, a gentleman who's probably just ecstatic from this weekend from the tennis tournaments, Mr. Timmer Halligan. The Zoom is yours.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that, Danny. And happy birthday to Tim. I saw he had a birthday just the other day. So tell him happy birthday and congratulations on your all's 11th year with Legal Shield. And they always say that time flies when you're having fun. And we have fun in Legal Shield. Doesn't mean that you don't go through some difficult times at times, but when you put it all in the perspective in the grand scheme of life, we have a lot of fun. And so congratulations to y'all. And, what a great Zoom so far tonight. Steve kicking us off, on this September 11th weekend. And, it's a weekend that we know where we were 20 years ago. There's not a person on here who doesn't know where you were 20 years ago when this happened. And I always tell the story when I was in the middle of 9/11 or 9/11 was going on, I was getting a haircut. And I was running a big club downtown Chicago. And so obviously Chicago got really, really worried about what was going to happen. So I left right in the middle of my haircut. So I had half my hair cut and the other half of my hair wasn't. And, but I remember exactly where I was that day and definitely remember what my hair looked like on that day. So appreciate you, Steve, putting some stuff out there in regard to that and just taking a moment, just think about what that really, really means to all of us, because for the last 20 years, we've continued to have the freedoms that we have because so many people have given their lives in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. And I think it's one thing that 9/11 did bring about to all of us is the blessings of first responders and people getting to scenes and helping people out. And so again, just a great time to do a little bit of reflection. And I'm excited to be able to share some information with you all tonight. I've just got into my 17th year with Legal Shield. I started in June of 2004. And what a journey it's been. And, I've had the opportunity to train in all kinds of different ways, all kinds of different places, whole lots of different folks. And tonight I get the opportunity to actually interview and do a little bit of training with my mentor, Mr. John Drennan. I talk all the time about the story of how I met Mr. Drennan. And, it was about 5 years into this business. I'd been in Performance Club pretty much every year, every month since I started in this company. But we had never spoken. And he gave me a phone call one day and he said, this conversation's long overdue. And I remember where I was on that day specifically. I remember I was walking into my mother-in-law's house and I said to Amy, I said, some guy named John Drennan just called me. And the time was right. That's what's so great about this business is that the time is always right for you to start this business, whether you've been in it for a long time or you truly are just getting started. Last week we were on the stretch call. And one of the questions that I had asked on the morning stretch call, which I encourage y'all to be on the morning stretch calls. It really does help. It gets your day started. Absolutely fantastic. But we were talking about what animal you would like to come back as, if you could come back as anything. And of course, Mr. Drennan said, and when he said it, it made absolute sense to me. He said, I'd like to come back as an eagle because they see the big picture and they soar really, really high. And that's one thing about Mr. Drennan. He is absolutely a planner. If you know him, and we're so opposite in different ways. I'm the fourth quarter, wait till the end to get things done. And that's just the way I get it going. And Mr. Drennan, he's got things going so far in advance. And together it makes for a great, great conversation. And this last weekend, yesterday, we had a lot of Super Saturdays. I think Cassandra was texting me saying that she saw Larry Smith yesterday. He was down in the Louisiana area with Super Saturday. Mr. Drennan did the Super Saturday yesterday, and it was the combination of about 7 different marketplaces. Some of them were live and in person, and then Mr. Drennan came on and did his training, and it was such an awesome training supporting, his book, The Tao of Network Marketing. I haven't gotten my regular copy yet. I got the advanced copy that I was fortunate enough to be able to get. It's big and it's bulky, but I love carrying it around. And I got to hear him talk about it yesterday. What's interesting is hearing somebody go through what you've already read and you've also experienced, with this gentleman for many, many years. And what I love about this book is it prepares you for the journey. I mean, it's like, I wish I could have had this book at the very beginning because it kind of gets you filled in on a lot of the things that you're going to run into. And it also gets you prepared, even if you're a veteran in this business, to be able to always understand the basics. The thing about reading, it's about gaining knowledge that you can then pass off to somebody else. Because now when you pass it off to somebody else, you're a coach and you're a teacher. And so, Mr. Drennan, are you there, sir?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Timmer.
Awesome. Well, listen, first of all, congratulations on your book. I mean, I know it's something that really you were just destined to do. I'll just say it. I was surprised it took you that long, right, to kind of get it all organized, because I figured, you'd have that thing done. And I think you did it in like record time, like 6 months or something like that. But I'm sure a lot of it, Mr. Drennan, was things you've been keeping notes on, over the last several years, right? I mean, you've been taking notes, and I actually went into my notes. I was going through old notebooks, cleaning up. John, I've seen you 20 times that I could count in the notebooks that I've found over the last couple of days. I've seen you do training 20 times over my 17 years, 20 full all out training situations, and, you know, hundreds of other situations where I've gotten to see you in different stages. But maybe you could just share real quick, you know, why now for the book? What made you right now write the book? What was that catalyst that said, okay, enough's enough? Because I know you thought about it for a long time, and decisions are what makes things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, you know, timing's important. Yeah, I had notes. In fact, I was able to write it pretty fast, and 8 months, less than 8 months from the moment I met the publisher until it was available on Amazon. But a lot of that was prep, and the prep included going back to notes, notebooks, ideas to pull together the things I wanted in the book. Well, that was interesting for me because I actually found a file, and keep in mind, I've moved a few times since I first conceived this idea. So it was a file in a box, and it was titled Book Ideas. And I've got other books in me, but one of the book ideas was truly an outline for a lot of what's in the Tao of network marketing. And one of the assignments was basically take 3x5 cards and take every concept I want in the book as a way to start to organize it. That was easy for me because I did have not just one file, I had multiple files. I had notebooks. So yeah, I wrote it in 8 months, but I've worked on it for 25 years.
Excellent. Well, you know, I knew that once you made that decision, you were going to come up with one heck of a product. And,
hey, Timmer, let me also add something because it's relative to everybody on here. And, you know, we all hear when the students ready to teach their peers. There were many times I kind of started a book in my head, and that's why I had these files. But until I had a coach, a mentor, had accountability to a process, had a system, that was the magic. I ended up not only with a publisher, but also a writing coach. So both things together. And so without that, my book wouldn't be published. And even if it was, it wouldn't look like this, you know, and they just did a great job helping. I mean, all the final decisions were mine, but all the coaching and help. And that's the same with this business. We need coaches, mentors, a system, a process, and we have all that. Those who follow it end up with a completed, you know, product. Those who don't are a mess. They're files sitting in boxes. It's a great metaphor. Back to you.
Excellent. Thanks so much. And, you know, it's as I was watching you train yesterday, and I believe this is part of your purpose in writing it, because, you know, I see this book more of a description of the journey with some of the things that you need to bring along the way with you. And you talked yesterday in your training about preparing for the journey. And you talked about the, if not this, what are you going to do? And if not now, when? And, you know, kind of breaking some of those simplistic ideas down. So tell me a little bit about the preparation for the journey, right? Because, you know, people jump into this business and they're part-time, and, you know, their associate even maybe brand new. I mean, as much as we talk about the system, it doesn't always work exactly like you want because people are different places, but the journey is one that you've seen over and over and over again. We've seen every single journey that you could have in this business. And so tell me a little bit about the preparation for the journey. You know, why is that so important? You know, even for somebody who's right now been in this business for a long, long time.
Well, there are a lot of aspects to that. And what I talked about yesterday was actually derived from the summer blast. If not this, what? If not now, when? Being comfortable, being uncomfortable, focusing. You know, if you say, I don't have enough time, I would say to you, you just haven't gotten clear. You're not focused. That's what that really means. You know, what's your goal? And then why haven't you done it yet? These are sort of personal, deep exploration of things. And but really, Timmer, I think the book helps prepare for the journey. Chapter 1 deals with a lot of the myths that are out there that we all come up against. People saying, well, isn't that a pyramid scheme? Well, isn't that where you make money off your friends and family? we all hear these things. So I address that up front. I really address the significance of personal development. In anything we do, we got to get our mind right first. And that's a lot of the preparation is getting our mind right and making a decision, making a commitment. One part of the book I talk about, in fact, toward the end, I talk about what's your journey going to be. And some people start and say, well, I'll try this. Well, try usually doesn't last. Some people say, well, I'll give myself 6 months. I'll set milestones. If I hit them, I'll keep going. If I don't, I won't. Well, that's too rigid. Flexibility is power. So here's a better idea. So cast a vision for yourself, make the commitment, and then go for it. And when you start feeling like I don't have time, again, I would say, no, it's not time, it's focus. Let's say tomorrow you're going through your day and all of a sudden you break your arm. It is and I can look at the faces. Will at that point your focus go toward your arm in dealing with it? Yes. And you'll have great clarity. You'll have great focus. So if something is significant enough, time's not the issue. You would set other things aside to deal with the broken arm because your focus would be so strong. Well, it's the same thing here. If you put $1 million into this business, I guarantee you'd have focus. I think I just went down some road. Now I'm forgetting what you asked me, but I think I am.
Well, one of the things I thought was really important, you were talking about the myths of network marketing. Yeah. And, I think for me personally, the biggest thing about network marketing was getting over that fear of saying, yes, I'm in network marketing to people who are very, very successful, because I took this look at it like, oh goodness, man, I'm trying every way in the world to not be in network marketing, but I'm selling Legal Shield and I'm recruiting. So I was in network marketing. I think that's fantastic that you get those myths out there because people run into them. But here's what I'm going to say to everybody. Be proud of the fact that you're in network marketing with a product and a service that truly, truly helps people out. And, you then talked a little bit, Mr. Drennan, about scars and trophies. Now you've gotten a lot of trophies and, Millionaire Club member, 6-figure ring earner, residual, got one of the best teams in all of Legal Shield. But could you maybe share a couple scars, a couple things that, kind of got you down and out at times, right? I know you've even said to me, you've almost quit, several times in this business, but how important are the scars in the journey process, the healing process?
Well, I make a big deal of this in the book because the scars are important. So what do I mean by scars? It's the challenges that we have. And the major point I make is if you don't go through the challenges, how are you ever going to identify with someone who is? So show of hands, how many of you just missed a bonus by just this much, a bonus, a trip, a deposit you thought you were going to get? Yeah, see, it's most the hands. Well, if you haven't dealt with that and you've got a team member that does, what are you going to say? Like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's why they're so important. But what some of them are, Tim, are, first of all, we all experience it, but over the years, the frustration of just feeling like I want this for a person more than they want it for themselves. Like you got to deal with that in your head and your emotions. Setting goals and missing them or not hitting them in the timeframes that you want to. Frustrations. I've had executive director legs quit, leave, disappear, think there's greener grass. This company's been through some stuff. It went through acquisition when they acquired the People's Network. That's how I got started. But then over time, they were acquired. Harlan Stonecipher handed the reins over. The name got changed. It got rebranded. We lost people every step of those ways. At one point, when they changed Performance Club from what it originally was, and then made it what seemed more difficult, et cetera, about, 6-7 years ago, I had some really good people that actually quit the business. Why? Their commitment wasn't strong enough and they got frustrated. Well, that was a scar. I could go on. I'm looking at Sheila Bird on my screen. Sheila and Carlos know what I'm talking about. Timmer, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember one night, John, we stayed up all night long, 24 straight hours, running somebody to director. And it all came down to the very, very last membership that was going to be sold in the state of Arizona. And the lady bought the legal plan, bought the identity theft plan and didn't buy the legal plan. And at the time, being an unlicensed state, that means it didn't count. And, I lost 5,000. I think Mr. Drennan, you probably lost 10,000. I know the young lady lost 2,000. I've had executive directors that quit when they don't earn a trip. Oh, I didn't get the trip, and they quit. Like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, exactly. When we know it's not about the trip or the bonus, it's about the commissions. It's about the business. It's about the future. So you're right. Why'd you remind me of some of that?
I think one of the most important chapters, and you got near the end of it last night, or the things that we talked about, was just, the power of lasting relationships. I mean, I've got a lifetime friend in you, Mr. Drennan. I mean, the things that, we've experienced together and gone through together, and, all kinds of different scenarios, cried, laughed, you name it. Lasting relationships are really what this business is all about. So you could maybe just share, and then I'd like to go out to some folks who were at the Super Saturday yesterday with Mr. Drennan at the end here, take maybe about 30 seconds. So get your thoughts in order, because I've got, just one thing I want to say to Mr. Drennan. Is the concept of the lasting relationships that are built in this business. And I know that the very best friends that you have come from this business. And so maybe you could share just a minute of that, because I think that's one of those big picture things. Some folks are saying right now, I don't have the right people around me or the right relationships, but what comes out of here is special. So maybe you could share just a minute on that.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. First of all, a big intention in my book was to help people to really appreciate the deeper meaning of this journey, and the relationships are a huge part. But that's a hard thing to convey to someone until they start experiencing it. But I'm looking, we got 41 people on here. The only person I knew prior to Legal Shield's Bill Radford, who we heard his great membership story earlier. He was best man in my wedding. And we've known each other since college, but the other 39 people, I've met as a result of this business. And what's so cool about it, and I write about this, is the diversity. Men, women, different age groups, different backgrounds, different skin colors, different, financial statements. I love the diversity. And, I'm looking at the screen lighting up, and I'm lighting up. Because when I look at each one of you, I've got different memories. Annette Zobar, I sat in her home in Illinois while she tried to straighten me out with QuickBooks. Lee Perry, I've done all kinds of stuff with her. Timmer and I nonstop. Mike Thompson, I've seen him at events for years. Melvin Turner, man, that guy, I gave a little special recognition in the book, in the acknowledgements, because of what he's meant and who he's introduced me to. And the story, it goes on and on. I'm sorry I'm not mentioning all of you, but everybody, there's a connection there. You don't have that in traditional business.
Well, thanks so much, Mr. Drennan. And again, why don't you put your website in the chat for people to get to the Tao of Network Marketing. Super excited for everyone to read it. And, really think that we may have a book of the month that we should all be trying to get through in the month of September. Because you know what, when you got a whole bunch of people that are reading something very, very similar or exactly the same, you start to get things that come out together in large volume. Thanks for holding up that copy, Bill. I bet he's got some great college stories about Mr. Drennan too. We'll have to get a hold of Bill here one of these times.
Those stories didn't make it in the book, by the way.
Well, listen, who was at the Super Saturday yesterday, Mr. Drennan, that would like to take 30 seconds and just share a little bit about it? We'll go about another minute or so. I know we're about a minute or so over on training, but who's got a comment on yesterday's training?
I do.
Go ahead.
Bridget Paquette Parker from Gaylord, Michigan. My background is an ATM business owner, and I was behind the scenes working with the 5 states. We had 182 listening to Mr. Drennan yesterday afternoon. There was 26 guests. And the big takeoff for everybody was just add the 0, folks. Add the 0. Back to you, Timmer.
Awesome. Thanks so much. That is right. 180 people, 26 guests. That's fantastic. All virtually. People's businesses grew from whatever part of the country they were in. They didn't have to be there. Who else was
By
there?
the way, Timmer, you know, I wouldn't have shared that Add to Zero without Danny and Tim Godin, because they really did it. And I gave them credit, you know, yesterday,
Yes, you
but
did.
that's where that comes from. Great comment there, Bridget.
Well, and what's so powerful about that training is that it's real. And he went back through and kind of highlighted where they were at various times throughout the entire their journey. And, you know, I give Danny and Tim all honors. I mean, they hit executive director again this month, but I think there was a month or two in there that you didn't hit executive director. That's a scar, right? That's a scar. And then you come right back out on top and you do it, right? That's the way that this works. I mean, if there was an easier, straighter, more straight upward line, we'd all take it. Who else saw Mr. Drennan yesterday? Let's take two more.
Robert Bagley, Louisville, Kentucky. I loved the succinct way that it was presented. You know, I've read the book, and everything that was presented yesterday is in the book, but it wasn't in such a way that you could see it click, 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 click. And that was very powerful to me. Back to you, Timmer.
Absolutely. I thought we got yesterday was the Cliff Notes version, right? I mean, we got to see everything that was going on. Anybody ever took a test off of Cliff Notes? You don't do as good as if you read the whole book. I think, Linda, did you have your hand raised? You were there?
Yeah, Steve and I were listening and watching, and it was just an awesome training. We look forward to hearing Mr. Drennan train all the time, because he has such good things to train on, and we could follow. We heard many of that what he talked about during the blast, and each story that he tells, I think about the first time I've heard it. You know, some of this stuff is new, but a lot of it you've heard it before, but it doesn't matter. It's something new that day, and you'll find something new in it. Back to you.
Awesome. And here's one thing I'd like to say, because Linda made a great point. She said, you've seen it before, but it doesn't matter. Here's what I want to say. You've seen it before, and it does matter. Because the more that you see things, right, the more that you keep hearing the same stuff. If every time we heard Mr. Drennan or any of the top leaders, they had different stories and different ways of doing things, and it's always the flavor of the month, and this month I'm going to do this, and this month I'm going to do that. We've seen all that on stage. We've seen how it all works, but it doesn't last. So thank you, Mr. Drennan. Appreciate you so much tonight. And let me send it back to Danny Godin.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I don't know if Bridget or John or any of you might have had the recording for that. I also was unable to make it yesterday, and I know a few people have kind of mentioned that in the chat. If there's a recording, can you let us know about that?
Yes, I'll get that from April or Rob Hurst and see how we can get that to everybody, okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome,
Appreciate you
dear.
guys.
You're
All right,
welcome.
cool. Well, that was awesome. I'm really enjoying listening to all the different types of interviews that we've done with John, with different people doing different interviews for his book, because that's just really exciting and just makes me want to go back downstairs and pick up the book again. So I'm probably going to do that after I get off the call. Well, with that though, we are at the wrapping up point of our Sunday Zoom, and I have the honor and privilege of going out to a gentleman that we know as Mr. Enthusiasm, Chuck Dodge.
Thank you, Danny. Yeah, this is Chuck Dodge, Mr. Enthusiasm. I'm a speaker, coach, and a book addict, and I'm in Owasso, Michigan. And what I'm about to say is it's going to fit right into nicely with what Timmer and John were talking about in the personal development. We're going to talk about values. See, we always do what we value. And there was an exercise in Charles Hobbs's book, Time Power, many years ago. And here's what we want to do. And you can do this tomorrow. Just brainstorm on what you value. Just get tens of 30, 40 values. And if you have an issue with that, you can Google and type in values exercise, and they'll come up. And then what we want to do is we want to take the 10 top values there that are for you, and then prioritize them in order. Most important. For example, I've got mine here. It'd be most likely it would be God, family, personal development, love, freedom. Those are some of mine. Now, here's the kicker to this. To see if we're living out our values, go to the right side and put down how your behavior is in relationship to that value. And I would bet that you might find a little bit of disparity. For example, a couple of weeks, well, on Wednesday, my former wife passed away. We were married from 68 to 80. And on Friday was the funeral. And through the time, I sat with her every day for 14 days. Out of that, I realized that family was a high value for me. It was a number 2 or 1, but I wasn't living it until I went through that, and I saw my son on Friday, and it just came to me. I thought of values. So do your values and get that down and see if you're congruent. And it'll go with what John was saying about you will be more apt to do the behavior because you value it. So just do a check on that. And there's a question is this, and what values do we need to have to create the destiny that we deserve and that we're born to have? So have fun with the values exercise and see what you can really get in congruent with, and inside equals the outside. So back to you, Danny.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chuck. All right, Steve, if you want to go ahead and stop the recording, and it's all yours for the video. Thanks, everybody.